Hello and welcome to my guided tour of 19th century Western art. I would like to note that this tour is only an itty bitty teeny tiny microscopic part of the Impressionist art, which only contains 5 oil paintings made by big painters. Being introduced to you, well, let's not call it introducing because all 5 of the paintings are already well known amongst and outside of the artsy people like me. But they are being mentioned again by me here. I would like to tie them together under the same idea of what art can do. This is my analysis, and it's going to be limited to just those 5 paintings in Musée d'Orsay whose characteristics seemed interesting to me enough, by which I picked to fit the theme of this itty bitty teeny tiny microscopic guided tour. There are many things art can do. Let me point out 5 of them. First, art can be a statement. You can simply compare and contrast correlated ideas such as good and evil, or you can demonstrate the reality. If that goes down the path, you'll eventually get to the realism era, where painters depicted the harsh reality of the commoners in their contemporary times around the Industrial Revolution. The gap between the rich and the poor grew, and the artists like Renoir would paint about it. It's like saying, look, something's different. It was like recognizing the changes in the society, rather closer to describing the gap, lacking any critical voice. I think that's the great part of these paintings, that it's not criticizing anything, it's just pointing it out. Number 2. Art can also be about skills and painting methods. Some painters were experimental and went on to find new ways to paint. They tried various things for their artwork, and for example, George Seurat spent 2 years creating replicas of his famous painting, just practicing for 2 years for that big painting. A Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grandiate. Artists like him were curious about practices of color theories. They painted with dots to see the effects of color arrangements. It's called pointillism. Number 3. Art can make a point, as in forcing you to think or see differently, launching new norms into conventions, saying, hey, we don't always have to be this way. And when Manet's painting Le Déjeuner sur l'Aube was rejected by the Académie des Beaux-Arts and displayed in the Salon des Fusées, it created quite a scandal. The subject matter of naked prostitutes and the inaccurate depiction of such subjects, for example, the bather in the background seems larger than she's supposed to be. It brought criticism against the painting. Manet's experiment was like throwing a ball onto the calm surface of a lake. Number 4. Art can be about looking good. Aesthetic traits are just as important in a painting as their message or the painting skills. The convention of the time was that the paintings had to be created in a studio or usually be about historical or mythological events. However, Danse et le Moulin de la Galette by Renoir was painted outside with its subjects of a daily, casual, and fun party under the noontime sunlight. Therefore, the focus of the painting is less on what is happening, but more on the scenery itself, especially the dappling of lights, which contrast the purplish shadow. It's gorgeous when you see it in person. The light-weighted atmosphere of the scene is what makes the viewers feel amazed by the beauty and its aesthetic of the painting. Lastly, number 5, art can touch you. It can impress you. Up until the 19th century, painting was closer to the means of historical and mythological narrations or simple depictions of the subject. It seems rare to find artworks that reflect the artist's emotional status. If there were strong emotions drawn in a painting to make you feel a certain way, it would still lack some type of connection between the painting and the painter himself. However, as time evolved and changes came along, more artists started to pay attention to their individualized art styles and the impression that they can provide through their paintings to the viewers. focusing on the effect of light on outdoor subjects such as the water, chapels, rocks, and hay bales. Claude Monet deviated from the traditional way of painting. My impression of Claude Monet was from my art history class in 2019. You had to disguise yourself as one of the artists in the 19th century Europe, and I was Claude Monet. The class was divided into two groups, the traditional school and the pioneers of the new genre of art. Acting like I had opened the 1872 Impressionist exhibition with my artsy friends like Renoir or Sisley, I made presentations about Claude Monet and his art style. Since I studied thoroughly his painting and his life and his artistic journey to a point where I started to have a personal connection and emotional attachment to his paintings, coming to Musée d'Orsay and seeing his artworks in person was one of the best overwhelming experiences I could ask for.
지금 굉장히 현실 감각이 없는데 너무 보고 싶고 너무 가고 싶던 곳에 실제 왔으니까 그게 너무 실감이 안 나고 그것과 그 연장선으로 1년 동안 돈을 모으고 여행 준비를 하고 기차를 끊고 몸이 피곤한데 며칠에 걸려서 결국에는 여기 왔던 것처럼 모네도 여기 보면 파리스 외곽의 알젠트에 저기에서 이 그림을 그리기 위해서 모네도 캔버스 챙겨서 유화 페인팅 들고 마음에 드는 자리 찾아서 몇 시간 걸려서 그랬을 테니까 모나고 좋아하는 걸 하는 거 그 순간에 느끼고 내가 표현할 걸 가장 최우선순위로 두고 나머지 인생을 사용하는 거 그게 진짜 멋있다고 생각한다. 결국에는 아름다운 순간들을 캡처하려고 모네도 살았고 나도 그렇게 살고 싶고 옆집에 살아서 맨날 왔으면 좋겠다. 소리를 기록하지 못하고 냄새를 기록하지 못해서 아쉬워하지 않았을까 싶기도 하고 나도 여행을 하면서 내가 느끼는 거 내가 보면서 좋았던 걸 너무 기록을 하려고 강박이 생길 정도인데 그 비슷한 거를 예술가들도 하던 거구나 싶고 나도 그림 그리고 싶다는 생각이 들고 저기 마네의 The Beggars 저 그림 배들 맞나? 야 교과서에만 있었는데 너무 실감이 안 난다. 요 분이랑 자꾸 눈이 마주쳐서 더욱 실감이 안 난다. 아직 6시에 가는데 지금은 3시고 반고흐 페인팅은 마지막으로 두려고 하는데 어차피 내일 또 올 거니까. 근데 이제는 임프레셔니스트 페인팅들은 다 닫고 이제 이 방향으로 걸어서 가면 된다. 근데 여하튼 거기서 같이 오는 맥락이 있었다. 내가 열심을 다해서 여기까지 와서 부정적인 감정을 최대한 억누르려고 하면서 모든 거 내가 눈에 담고 듣고 하는 모든 거를 기록하고 싶고 하고 아까워하는 마음 그런 걸로 순간순간 페인팅을 그리지 않았을까 싶고 드가는 사진 기술 개발됐을 때 앞에 이렇게 딱 완성된 작품처럼 안 보이고 사진으로 찍은 듯한 편집하는 구도가 특징이라고 했는데 모네 그림은 딱 보면 모네 그림인지 알겠다.
Sometimes I tend to overthink and worry about my future so much that I cannot enjoy what I have in the present. I remember turning 23, looking out the window at 6 in the morning. I was scared to age, to face the fact that not everything that I had thought through for my future will come true. Someday I will realize that my time is very limited and maybe I won't have anything great achieved or created by myself. But what I had in front of my eyes was a clear sky of naked blue with hints of pink and orange on the clouds. As time moved slowly, the clouds transformed, which was followed by changes in colors reflected on them. The moment I enjoyed the view of the sky was limited to the 23-year-old me. I can't have the same sky right now. I can't bring it back. When you understand the power of simple moments, that is when you become less concerned about the linear consequences of time, I believe. And maybe some artists in the past had realized that while painting outside, mornings and evenings carrying out their art tools. And Monet must have been one of them, enjoying the moments, appreciating how the colors changed in the sky, on the surface of the water, on chapels, and on some haystacks. I am glad to have found that out when I turned 23. Monet once said, "I would like to paint the way a bird sings." For me, that just sounds like he fully loved and enjoyed the way his bird was singing. Not only Monet's artworks come as personal to me, but also those of Van Gogh's. So that's why I am going to dedicate a full separate video for just that moment I visited Van Gogh's painting The Starry Night over the Rhone. So see you in the next video.